there's the goal of dealing with triggers. Now, this is very, very, very important. So we want our clients, especially if it's substance use, but it could be anything. If it's a dissociative group, if it's women who have been in domestic violence, there are triggers for everybody if they have any kind of trauma and issues going on. So we want them to develop an awareness to their triggers. We want them to become aware of what triggers them, how they're triggered. You know, you'll see even in media and social media and in television today, in TV shows that have numerous episodes, this word of triggering is becoming more popular in our cultural language. And so people will say, there'll be a disclaimer. This program may be triggering to some people. I just watched a series about Native Americans and how they were treated in Canada in these schools that they went to, reform schools. And it said, this may be triggering to some people. Well, yeah, it was triggering to me as a therapist. I got very frustrated with it and angry. It frustrates me to see how people are treated. So we want them to be aware. I'm triggered. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but we want them to know it. Then we want them to recognize and normalize those triggers. Okay, you're triggered. It's normal. It's okay. Anybody can be triggered at times. It's not a strange thing. And there's some triggers that if you'll do certain things, you'll be able to avoid them. So if you have PTSD, for example, and you know that the movie that your family's watching has a lot of blood and gore in it, and it's a war-oriented movie, if you know that's going to be triggering to you, you don't have to watch that. It's not a requirement. You can avoid that trigger. Especially, let's say 7-Eleven. You've got a person every day of their adult life, they've stopped at 7-Eleven and gotten alcohol and drank it while they're driving. And so every time they go by 7-Eleven, it's a trigger. Well, we want them to learn how to cope with and develop an anti-trigger for that moment and develop ways to do that. Now, a beautiful thing in group is brainstorming. In brainstorming techniques, we're going to invite the group as a unit to come up with practical coping skills. Notice the words I put there, that actually work. So if you want to share with us in the Q&A, what are some things that actually work for your clients with the coping skills? Because I call this the wisdom of the group. When I have a group together and I say, okay, guys, share with me what your triggers have been in the last week. Second question, guys, share with me what coping skills you've used to overcome those triggers and deal with those. And what are coping skills that actually, quote unquote, work for you? That's the key, that work for you. And so when they come up with these things that actually work for them, we know it's usually going to be exercise. Some of them are very common things. But then every once in a while, somebody will come up with something. I'll go, wow, that's a new one. I like that. So let's go with that. It gives them the sense of discovery. It's a sense that, my voice is being heard and my ideas are good. I've got good ideas that would be useful. I don't know if you use a whiteboard in your group or not, in your treatment program, but we have a big whiteboard. I'll have somebody, say, okay, who has good handwriting? I don't. And there'll always be somebody in the room that has really good handwriting. So they'll go up to the whiteboard. Okay, let's make a list of all of our triggers this week. So they'll go up there and write up triggers. All right. Now let's make a list of our coping skills, and they'll write those down. And so I'll have clients, I'm serious, they'll go up and take a picture of that, and they'll keep that on their phone and look over it from time to time. Are there specific differences between a residential group therapy versus non-residential? I think it can have a difference, because when you have a residential group, like if it's a group home, if you're working in a halfway house or a treatment center where people are living together, they get to know each other in a different way than people who are just coming in once a week for an hour and a half. So that, I think the depth of that could be different. Other than that, my experience has been in our residential homes, as well as in our weekly treatment groups in the clinic. We have a treatment center, and then we have 3 residences. It's pretty similar. Just I guess, the intensity of how much they know each other. So if they've got a problem with each other, I had one treatment group with guys that were in a home together, and boy, the one guy just went off on the other guy. Well, you did this and that. You did this and that. So what you don't want to have in a residential setting is that your treatment group is for troubleshooting, because that is not a treatment group. And so if they're coming into the group thinking, okay, I'm going to get even with Billy Bob in the group when we get together, or I'm going to, make the facilitator tell us what to do, then that's not healthy. So you want to have boundaries against that. Coping skills, we've got things like praying, reaching out to support, deep breathing is always good, positive self-talk, practicing gratitude, distractions. These are things that work. Playing tapes through, I love that. And playing tapes through, yeah, somebody said, I think I should get a whiteboard. I really do recommend it. Also, make sure, if you get a whiteboard, make sure you have good pens and keep them replenished. Ours keep drying out. We have to constantly buy new ones. Meditate. This idea that you put up there with David put, playing tapes through, is excellent. Because what happens is when our clients say, let's say, for example, somebody says, yeah, I've been thinking about going to the bar and having a glass of club soda. All right, let's play that tape through all the way to its logical conclusion. And then they end up back where they started, okay, turning their thoughts to someone or something else. Self-care. Boy, we're trying to preach that today. That's for sure. It's a must. Now, another goal in our treatment groups is emotional regulation. And so what we're helping them do is, because they're in a semi-controlled atmosphere, they know that they can't do certain things. They know that they can't, get extremely angry. Then they're going to have to regulate themselves for those weeks they're in programs. They're going to have to regulate for that hour and a half, no matter what comes up. So that teaches them a certain level of discipline while they're in the treatment group. And then developing coping templates, which we just covered in detail. So that's great. Yeah, getting away from the stressor, make a plan to address it. Now, I've also tried to help our clients understand you can't run from everything. I had a client once who had graduated, and I saw him in a different setting. How are you doing? He says, yeah, I'm doing okay. I said, well, good. I said, have you gotten a job yet? And he said, oh, no, I can't go to work yet. Now, this was a year after he had been through treatment. Oh, no, I can't work. He said, I'd be too stressed if I work. Well, for him, work equals stress. And so he's not working because he'd be stressed, but it would be much better for him if he were able to go to a job and have therapy for the things he was confronting in that job.